Malware and threats. First, introduction to malware. Malware, what is malware? So malware is what malicious software that damages or disables computer system and gives limited or full control of the system to the malware creator for the purpose of theft and fraud. For example, these are the examples of malware we have: Trojan horse, viruses, backdoor, worms, rootkit, spyware, ransomware, botnet, adware, crypter. These are the examples of malware. Very simple. Normal we use software, and the software which do the malicious things, it is called malware. And the malicious things, that means it is trying to get the control of your system, and it is try to damage or disable your system. So these kind of software, it is called malware, and these are the examples of those malware. That is like Trojan horse, viruses, backdoors, worms, rootkits, spywares, ransomware, botnet, adware, and crypter. Now, different ways a malware can get into a system. How these malwares get into our system, this is also important. They can come instant messenger application. They can come as a instant messenger application. They can come as a internet relay chat. When we do the chatting, so somebody will do what? They will send the chat, and they will send with the chat, they can send the malwares also. And you will download it, you will install it as if you feel like it is a genuine software, or it will do some help for you. Removable devices like flash, your USB flash, you take your flash everywhere, and the malwares can come with these flashes. You copy some files with the malware in the flash, and then this flash you will copy in your system, then it will get the malware in your system. It can come as a attachment of the email. So somebody or attackers do what? They send the email with the attachment, they send these malwares also. They can come as a legitimate shrink wrap code, software packaged by the disgruntled employees. Then it can shrink wrap code. It is actually what? It is the coding. Uh, some of the applications, when the application developer develop the application, so they have some they have to do the coding, they have to do the lots of coding. So sometimes they do what? For some particular thing to do, they download the coding from the internet. Now the attackers do what? They create those codings, those which is normally used many times. So they create a format coding there, and with that coding they add some malicious code into it. So normally when you see the coding, it will not do the, you will not identify identify the thing. You will see the starting and the beginning and some of the thing in the middle, and you will try to run the code, and it will do the job. Then you will add that code into your. Now when you create that application with that malicious code, so the weakness and the vulnerability will remain in your application, and wherever you install that application, that vulnerability will go to that go to that system also. So those who is the software developer, they are taught that they should not download any code from internet. They should create all the coding by themselves. But if they do download the codes from the internet, they can find these shrink wrap codes, and with that they can find some malicious codes also. And the application which made by that code can be a vulnerable, or the weaknesses with the application. Then it can come by the browsers and email software bugs, and then it can comes from the net BIOS sharing, file sharing, that is in the sharing in the local environment, work environment. When we share files from one machine to other machine, so with that file, suppose the file is infected, so when we copy that file into your system, then the infected file will come with that malware. Fake programs, it can come as a fake program. Somebody can send you the program, and it will say like, this is the program which do this thing, but actually it's what? A malware. It will not do the thing which is intended to do. It will do what is it meant to do. That is what? The is stealing your information, disabling or corrupting your system. It can come as a untrusted sites and freeware softwares. We download the pirated softwares, pirated movies, untrusted sites we go. So those sites, those softwares, those applications comes with these malwares. Downloading files, games and screensavers from internet sites. This is what, like downloading these pirated things, unauthorized sites, untrusted sites, downloading these files. These files can be infected, and then they can come into your system, and they can also infect your system with these malwares. Now, the common techniques attacker use to distribute malware on the web. These are the common techniques are used to distribute the malware. That previously that was the way that they can they can come into your system, but for the attackers, they do what? They use these techniques like black hat search engine optimization, SEO, search engine optimization, which is ranking malware pages highly in search result. They do what? They do rank the malicious pages, malicious websites into high, so that whenever you search something, it will show you first the malicious sites which has the malwares, and you will go to that sites and get the malware, infected by the malware. Malvertising, it is embedding malware in ad networks that display across hundreds of legitimate high traffic sites. We see the ads. When you open some sites, you will see multiple pop-ups, ads comes. So they can do what? They can add into that ad networks. They can add a malware as a ad, and when you see that ad, you see like, okay, this is some important software or interesting software, and you download it, but it is a malware. It can come. They can do what? Compromise the legitimate website, hosting embedded malware that is spread to unsuspecting visitors. Sometimes they do defacing the websites. Defacing the websites, that means legitimate websites, using the vulnerability of the website, they can do deface the website. They can compromise the website, and then when somebody goes to that website, they will do the pop-up. The pop-up will come, and in the pop-up you will see the notification or warning, and then they can redirect you to the malware site and download the malware. It will force you to download the malwares. Then social engineering, clickjacking. This is tricking the user into clicking on innocent looking web pages. Very simple, doing the social engineer, clicking jacking. That means they do the social engineering and do send the messages, do send the pop-ups or mails to the users, and lure them to click on those web pages. So when you click on those web pages, they can install the malwares into your system from the background. Spear phishing sites. This is mimicking the legitimate institutions in an attempt to steal the login credentials. It is a social engineering phishing technique. It do what? It sends the email to you. Spear phishing, like targeted email to you, that about the warning or about some information or about some interesting thing, and it will tell you to log into the site. And when you click on that site, when you click on that link, it will take you to the fake site, and then it will log all your credentials. When you put, like, you will put the username, password or any other information, it will log that information, and then it will redirect you to the genuine site. Drive-by downloads. It is exploiting flaws in the browser software to install malware just by visiting our web pages. Not only you have to download it and install it, it is just you visit some sites, and it can also install the malware in your machine from the background, and you don't know what is happening. Now first, what is a Trojan? Trojan is a program in which the malicious or harmful code is contained inside apparently harmless programming or data in such a way that it can get control and cause damage, such as running the file allocation table on your hard disk. For example, this Trojan gets activated upon users certain predefined action, and upon activation, it can grant attackers unrestricted access to all data stored on compromised information system and can cause potentially immense damage. Indication of a Trojan attack include all abnormal system and network activities such as disabling of antivirus, redirection to unknown pages, etc. Trojans create a covert communication channel between the victim computer and the attacker for transferring the sensitive data. These Trojans are like, you may have heard about these Trojan horses. In Greek time, there was a war, and they want to steal, they want to capture uh, they want to capture some area, or we can say so that all time when the war happens about the, it is like from, I don't know, it is from the Troy. So when they have some one party is under the castle and other party is outside the castle or fort, and they want to capture the castle. Now they want to capture the castle, but they can't enter into it because they are having very much security in the boundary, so they can't enter it from the outside, and they can't attack them from the outside. Then what they do, the ceasefire, and they present a horse, a wooden horse to them. It is like a real story. So they present them a wooden horse, and inside that wooden horse they have these their soldiers inside that horse. So when they take that wooden horse inside the castle. Now the horse is inside the castle. Now what, when everybody goes to sleep, then the soldiers came out from that horse and attacked them. So it is like the story, but it is what it is like. You can't attack it from the outside, so you will attack it from inside. So this name comes from that Trojan horse. That is why it is called Trojan horse. So it do what? It will do attack from inside. It will attack from inside. That means it can't. If suppose you are having lots of security, so it will come inside your system and then attack you. It will run the malicious code. It will try to get the control and try to give the control to the Trojan horse, this Trojan maker, the maker who made the Trojan. So it will try to get the access to that Trojan maker. So it will open the covert communication channel, that means hidden channel, to give that attacker information, to transfer the information, and the user don't know what is happening in the background. Then how hackers use this Trojan? So hackers use this Trojan to delete or replace the operating system critical files. They use to disable the antivirus and firewall, generate fake traffics to create DOS attack. It is also important. They create this DOS attack. They use the system to they use the system as a bot. This Trojan can make your system as a bot, and then use this bot to attack on other systems. This Trojan can create backdoors to gain remote access, so attacker don't have to come physical to your system. They don't have to physically connect the system. They can connect it from remotely. It opens the back door and it gives the whole access to the system to the attacker. Record screenshot, audio video of the victim PC. In fact, victim's PC as a proxy server for relaying attack. It can use the victim machine as a proxy server to do the attack on some other important servers. Then use the victim PC for spamming and blasting email messages. So it can also use that your victim's machine to do the spamming. You will receive the spam mails, lots of spam mails about lots of different things. Now it is not really that reality in that somebody is sending that email to you. It is actually some Trojan infected machine also doing that, and they don't want to caught, so they just do these machines to do the spamming, send the spam mails for them. Now when you try to search who is sending the mail, then you will come to that machine which is what Trojan infected. They can use the victim's machine as a botnet to perform the DDoS attack. DOS attack and DDoS attack is the same. It is small difference than this DOS and DDoS. Then to download the spyware, adware and malicious files. Trojan can also download other spywares and malwares into your system. Then it can easily steal your information such as password, security code, credit card information using keyloggers. So these Trojans can make your machine a keylogger can install your machine in your machine. It can install keyloggers to steal your password and security codes and credit card informations. Now these are the common codes used by the Trojans. These are some well-known Trojans. These are the names of those well-known Trojans and the port number they use. Now why this is important? Because you know it opens the back doors. It opens the back doors. That means when you see, if you want to see that your machine is infected or not, you can see by these port numbers. So you can check which port number is open in your system and your machine is doing the communication or connection establishing which this port. If it is establishing the connection within one of this port, that means it can be infected by these Trojan horses. So these are the common ports they use, and these are the names of those common Trojan horses we know. So if you see these ports open and established in your system, so you have to check the more information, because maybe it is because of the Trojan. Now how to infect the system using the Trojan? So how to infect? First, create a new Trojan packet using the Trojan horse construction kit. So you can create the Trojan horse first. Then what you will do, you will create a dropper which is a part in a Trojanized packet that installs the malicious code on the target system. So dropper is what? It is the Trojanized packet which installs the malicious code into your target system. It is just like we can say it is an exe file. So when you run the exe file, it is what? It is Trojanized packet. So it will install the Trojan viruses and the codes, the files which is required into your system. So what you have here, this is the example of the dropper. Installation path and then auto start path. So malicious code client address, drop zone is this, and the genuine application file name is this, and wrapper data executable file this. So what they do, so use the dropper and then wrap the dropper with the other application. So number 3, what it will do, it will create a wrapper using a wrapper tool to install the Trojan on the victim's computer and propagate the Trojan and execute the dropper and execute the damage routine. Now normally you see, you will give, if suppose you give somebody a Trojan or a Trojan virus exe, so it will not install. He will not install that exe for you. Remember, he will not install. So what attacker normally do, they use the dropper first, dropper which is installing the Trojan with the Trojan packet. So Trojan packet is the files which is need to be installed in the system, and dropper's job is to install the packet. So this is the exe with the having those Trojan packets. Then what? Then combine that Trojan dropper and Trojan packet with another software. Remember, another software, that means it is a normal looking software. For example, it is chess. It is normal chess software for the chess, or any other software you can choose, and then combine these two to make a wrapper. Now wrapper will do what? It looks like a normal chess, because the front end of this wrapper is what? This chess software. So when somebody sees that wrapper, it will see this chess and it will see like this is the software for chess, or any other, like we download some pirated software from internet. So we see the normal software, but we don't know that inside the normal software there may be a Trojan packet and there may be a dropper which can install the Trojan packet. So wrapper means what? It is the combination of the Trojan packet, dropper and the normal looking software. Then it will propagate the software by using the internet or using the email messages, by using the chat messages. Anyhow, by doing the social engineering, it will send that packet, wrapper packet, to the victim. Now when the victim sees the packet, it will see only the front end software, that is what? The chess. It is normal looking software. Now attacker do what? It will do the social engineering. It will lure the user that this is the important software you need and you should install this. So when it installs the software, the victim installs the software, it feels like they are installing the chess. So in front it will show that chess is installing, but in the background it will run the dropper, and dropper will do what? It will run the code and it will execute the Trojan code, and it will save the code, so that next time, every time when you start the machine, it is going to run the Trojan code first. So whenever next time the victim start the machine, it will run the Trojan code first. And basically where the Trojan goes, this is the very common path for the Trojan. It will install under C Windows System 32 as a svc host .exe. Now why it is using svc host.exe? It is to hide itself. And why it is using system32? Because under the system32 you may find lots of exe files, lots of small exe files which runs for the system, and then it will create in the registry, it will create a registry to do the auto start. It will create the registry in the run registry, and it will name the registry as Internet Explorer.exe, so that you will not notice that this is some kind of malicious code. And this code, it is the registry which will run this exe file. So this registry will make sure that whenever the victim restart the machine or start the machine, this registry will start the Trojan code from here, from this location. So in the system, mostly the Trojan exes are installed under the system32. So when you go to system32, that means under C drives, Windows, and under system32. Now under the system32, if you see here, if I say star.exe, you see the lots of exe files are there. There are lots of exe files, and with the different name. Even if we don't understand those names, these are all exes. Now within this exe, if suppose we have some Trojan exe, then we are not able to understand it. These are lots of different exes are there. And why it chooses the svc host? Because when you see the task manager, so when you see the detail, and when the process of Trojan runs, it may show up here. It may show up here, and it may show up with the name. So if it is a different name, like I can understand this is explorer.exe, that means it is belong to some kind of explorer. This is some kind of different software. So I can understand if the Trojan exe runs here, so I can see that exe here. So what it is doing here, it uses these name svc host. Now you can see the lots of process are running for svc host. So I don't know one of them is Trojan or not. So maybe one of them is Trojan. So that is why it can choose the name of svc host. Then some exe file needs some dynamic library files. Some softwares need the library files. Some Trojan exes also need some library files, DLL files. So for DLL files, what it do to hide the DLL files? It hides those DLL files under the drivers folder. If you check the drivers folder, these are all driver files, and these are lots of different driver files. You can see that these are the different files, and all files are having extension of .sys, and these are different names. So by the name we don't know that there is some file is belong to some Trojan. So if suppose some kind of Trojan, if suppose the Trojan is having lots of features, so for those features it needs some library files. So those library files it stores in this driver directory, and it will name as .sys, not .dll. But names doesn't matter. Remember, name doesn't matter. It is only for the graphical thing. But Trojan runs in the background in the command, so it does not need the name. So name could be any. So it saves the file as a .sys here, that DLL file. It is not .dll. It will save it as a .sys, and it can give any name here. We can't know that these names are Trojan names. So it uses some name and save the file here, and run and add the registry entry to run the virus, run the Trojan exe every time. So whenever you start the system from the registry, it runs the Trojan exe from system32, and what is the required DLL, it will find the DLL here in the drivers directory. So this is the very common path where these Trojans are installed. So these are the very common path where the Trojans are installed with the malicious code and with the run registry into the registry. And also it needs, suppose if needs the DLL file, then it install the DLL file into the drivers directory as a .sys file to hide itself. And also it comes as a wrapper, that means it will come as a normal software, and you will install the normal software and will install in the background, it will install the trojans. So what is wrapper? Wrapper binds a Trojan executable with an innocent looking exe applications such as games or office applications. So when the user runs the wrapped exe, it first installs the Trojan in the background and then runs the wrapping application in the foreground. So if it is having the chase and Trojan both itself, then what it will do, it will first install the Trojan. You will see normally it will show the chess.exe. So when you run the chess.exe, so it will install the Trojan first and then it will install the normal application. The two programs are wrapped together into a single file. An attacker might send a birthday greeting that will install a Trojan as the user watch, for example, a birthday cake dancing across the screen. It is just different ways we can do. Attackers can send the greeting exe, a greeting message to the victim, and it shows the video, GIF. You can run those, execute those, and then when it is run, it can be a Java file. So you run it, and in the background you will install the Trojan horse in your system. There are many ways it can do. There are many ways it can lure you to give the software and install the software into your system, install the Trojan into your system. These are the Trojan horse maker, dark horse Trojan horse maker. We can use this to create the Trojans. We'll see this. We have others also, cryptors, AIO food cryptor, hidden site cryptor, and galaxy cryptor. Now what this cryptor do? This cryptor is a software which is used by hackers to hide viruses, keyloggers or tools in a kind of file so that they do not easily get detected by antivirus. Remember, when you create a Trojan, so it can be detected by the antiviruses. So when you send the file to the victim, when you suppose send the file of wrapped file to the system, to the victim, so when the victim try to download the file or try to install the file, antivirus will detect it and it will try to delete it, and it will try to give the warning to the victim. So we can use these cryptors. This cryptor can do what? It can encrypt the code of that Trojan viruses or Trojan horses, so that normal antivirus is not able to detect it. So these are the different cryptors we have. This is also a cryptor we can use. Then how attackers deploy the Trojan? Deploying the Trojan, that means only when you create the Trojan, you have to deploy it to victims, like you have to send it to multiple victims. So what it do? First, attackers do what? Attackers send an email to victim containing link to the Trojan server. It has uploaded the Trojan into its own server. Then the link goes to the victim. Now the victim will do what? Victim clicks the link and immediately connects to the Trojan server in Russia. Maybe it is in Russia. So what? It is clicking that link. Now for clicking that link, we have to lure the user to click on that link. We have to make sure that user must click that link and download the software. For that we use the different type of social engineering. Like I said previously, like greeting, it can send the greeting. You click on that link and get the greeting. So you click on that link, you will redirect it to the server, Trojan server, and when it is redirected to the Trojan server, Trojan is sent to the victim machine. And then what? When the victim installs the Trojan, attacker installs the Trojan, infecting his machine. And what? After the Trojan is infected, then what? Whatever it do, the victim will do anything, like it goes to the Apple store. It says like here, dear customer, link the Trojan server to view the most up-to-date these and that. It is like luring the user to get information, like installing the Trojan. So when the victim install the Trojan by clicking on those links and downloading those Trojan EXEs, the Trojan connects to the attacker server. So attacker do what? It has running the server on its own machine. So when the Trojan is installed in that victim machine, the victim machine itself report to the Trojan server which is on the attacker machine. And it says here, the pop-ups displays here that the so Trojan connects the attacker server, and then attacker can send the instructions. So whatever instruction, whatever he wants to do with the victim, he will send the instruction to the victim, and then victim's machine will do as it is. Then we can use the exploit kit. An exploit kit or crimeware toolkit is a platform to deliver the exploit and payload such as Trojans, spyware, backdoors, bots, buffer overflow scripts, etc. on the target system. It do what? It suppose like victims do visit the legitimate websites. Now the legitimate website host on compromised web server. Then compromised web server, the compromised web server, that means the attacker has already compromised the web server. Then victim is redirected through the various intermediary servers. Intermediary server, like it is the proxy servers. Then victim lands at the exploit kit server hosting the exploit pack landing package, where exploit kit gathers information on the victim and deliver the exploit also. So attackers do deface the legitimate site. So when the user click on those, when a user goes to the legitimate sites, it feels like it is going to the legitimate sites, but when it clicks the some site, some link, it will redirect the victims to the exploit kit server, and then from there it can infect the victim machine. These are the exploit kit. It is called Infinity. It also do what? It also do infect the machines, infect the victim machines. Then we have Phoenix exploit kit and Backhole exploit kit. These are all for exploiting the system and installing the Trojans. We have Bleeding Life and Crime Pack. Now, evading the antivirus technique. Remember, these antivirus can detect your Trojan file. So when you send the Trojan file to the victim, it can be detected by the Trojan by the antivirus. So if the antivirus is there, then it will detect it. So what we can do with the antivirus is, first break the Trojan file into multiple pieces and zip them as a single file. We can do this. Now this will do what? It will actually break the file into multiple files and make them as a single, zip them as a single file. So what happened? The signature for the Trojan will not match. When the antivirus try to match the signature, it will not match because the file is divided into multiple pieces, and also it is zipped. Now zip with the password. So if it is zipped with the password, that means also additional security for the Trojan. So Trojan will not be able to detect it by the antivirus. Now remember, when you extract those zip files and make the Trojan, you extract the Trojan again, then it will be detected by the antivirus. So it is the one way, it is the way to insert the Trojan into the victim system. Like victim can download the Trojan easily, and victim can save the Trojan into its system. But when the victim try to install it, open the zip file, it can detect by the antivirus. So the second method is to always write your own Trojan and embed it into an application. This is very important. Remember, whatever the Trojans you are seeing and whatever the Trojan making kit you are getting on internet, or these kits, these all kits to make the Trojans, they are well known. They are well known, that means they are easily detectable by the antiviruses because their signatures are well known. So these Trojans can easily detect it. These Trojans, these viruses, these are already known to those systems, known to those antiviruses. So if you want to really evade the antiviruses, then you should write your new Trojan, new code, and totally new. That means your own Trojan code, so that it cannot be detected by the antivirus, because antivirus don't know about it, because this is the new Trojan you have made. Then you can do what? Change the Trojan syntax. Now suppose we are not a programmer and we are not able to write the Trojan code newly. What we can do the other ways. What we can do? We can change the Trojan syntax. Convert an exe to VBS script. Change the exe extension to doc.exe, ppt.exe or pdf.exe. Windows hide the known extension by default, so it shows up only document file, ppt file and pdf file. This is to fool the user. User will feel like this is normal pdf file, this is normal ppt file or pdf file or doc file, but the other extension .exe it will be hidden. Normally in Windows machine the extensions of the files are not shown. If you see the Windows machine, if you check the Windows machine, if you see the Windows machine system, they don't show the extensions. Like now these are txt files, but the extensions are not showing because these are known extensions. So what if the attacker do what? It convert the extension. It convert the extension to .txt.exe. So it make the exe as txt. So user will feel like this is the document file. For example, this is calculator. Now you can see exe is not showing here. So if I rename this, you can see the exe is not showing. If I say doc file, now you see it looks like it is a document file, but it is not a document file, it is actually exe file, because the exe extension is not showing by default. Normally it looks like a document file. So you can fool the user that it is a document file, and user will run that application, run that Trojan. Then we can change the content of the Trojan using Hexa editor, and also change the checksum and encrypt the file. So we can do this so that the signature of the Trojan will not be identified by the antivirus. So you are not able to make a new virus. So you can do what? You can change the Hexa code, you can change the Trojan using Hexa editor, or you can change the checksum encryption. You can encrypt the Trojan so that it will not be detected by the Trojan, the antivirus. Then again it is saying never use the Trojan downloaded from the web. Antiviruses can detect easily. Remember, these Trojan construction kits are already known to the antiviruses. Whatever you are getting from the internet, they are all well known. So if you try to use these, then it is not easy to evade the antivirus. Now these are the types of Trojans we have. There are many type of Trojans we have, and we can do like a single Trojan can do multiple things also. It is not like we have separate Trojan for everything. We can use a single Trojan which can do the other things also, like VNC Trojan, HTTP, ICMP, data hiding, destructive, HTTPS, FTP, remote access, proxy, botnet, defacement, e-banking, covert channel Trojan, notification, mobile Trojan, command shell Trojan. There are lots of Trojans, and some Trojans can do lots of things also. Like for example, this remote access Trojan can do lots of things, lots of different type of Trojans also. First is a command shell Trojan. This command shell Trojan gives remote control of a command shell on a victim's machine. Trojan server is installed on the victim's machine, which opens a port for attacker to connect. The client is installed on the attacker machine, which is used to launch a command shell on the victim's machine. And there is the example is Netcat NC. This Netcat can be used as a command shell Trojan. You will run the Trojan, you will run the Netcat into the client machine with this option. Netcat -L -P for the any port number, and then T and then -E for CMD. Execute the CMD, and then from the attacker machines you will run the Netcat with the IP and the port number, IP of the victim and the port number which you mention in the client machine, in the victim machine. So when you run that, it will give the CMD command prompt, because we have said here that execute the CMD. Then we have defacement Trojan. This defacement Trojan do what? It can deface the normal application to different application. This is resource editor allows you to view, edit, extract and replace the string bitmaps, logos and icons from a window program. And it allows you to view and edit almost any aspect of compiled Windows program, from the menus to the dialog boxes to the icons and beyond. They apply user style custom application to deface Windows applications. Example of Kelsey defacement is shown here. For example, you can see this is the original Kelsey application and this is the defaced application. What is defaced here? It is just change the view option. You can see the view option here, the edit option basically. It is changed here and it is change the name like you are hacked. Now it is only this to see you. It is only changed this to show you. But they can deface the application to run a malicious code also. Like when you click on this plus symbol, for example in the this calculator, if suppose I click on this plus symbol, so it will do what? It will add two numbers here, but it can change the code of this plus symbol and do what? It will run the malicious code also. So when anyone get this malicious or defaced application and when it tries to do the plus, so when you click the plus symbol, the malicious code will execute in the background and that code can install the Trojan and it can open the back door. This is a defacement Trojan restorer we have. We can use this restorer to deface or modify any application of Windows. You can open the application here, you can see the aspects of applications and you can see those codes and you can modify those codes also. Then we have botnet Trojans. These botnet Trojans infect a large number of computers across the large geographical area to create a network of bots that is controlled through the command and control center. Botnet is used to launch various attacks on a victim, including denial of service attack, spamming, click fraud and the theft of financial information. These botnets can be used to attack the other companies' websites and they can controlled by the botnet command and control center. So when it is infect your system, so your system will report the command and control of attacker. An attacker will see your machine there and then attacker do what? It will send the instruction to attack some other website or other server and do the spamming also. Now it can do the large number of computers, in fact the large number of computers, so that it can attack the big organizations or big servers, big websites, because these big companies, big websites, they are hosted on the big and powerful servers. Single attacker cannot harm these servers. So what it can do, it can use hundreds of or thousands of different botnets or bot machines to attack on these servers and try to harm these servers. So it is also used for denial of service basically, and to do the spamming, also for the clicking fraud and theft of financial information. This is Tor based botnet Trojan. It is called Chewbacca. Chewbacca Trojan has stolen data on 49,000 payment cards from 45 retailers in 11 countries over a 2 months span. This is what it has already done. Now it has already caught. So what it do actually, it makes normal user machines as a botnet and then it will use those botnet to attack those companies or those retailers servers. Then we have again botnet Trojan, Skynet and CyberGate. This is also do the same thing. It gives you a small exe, botnet exe, Trojan exe. You have to install it on the victim machine by doing the social engineering and wrapping the software. And then when it is installed, it will show you into the command and control. This is the screenshot of the command and control of these botnet Trojans. So when it is infected, it will show the botnet here with the information that what is the name of the system, what is the IP of the system, and then he can do instruction. It can give the instruction to that botnets, give the instruction to attack on some other servers or other victims. And then proxy server Trojan. This proxy server Trojan is usually a standalone application that allows remote attackers to use the victim's computer as a proxy to connect to the internet. Proxy server Trojan, when infected, starts a hidden proxy server on the victim's computer and infects thousands of machines on the internet are infected with proxy server using this technique. You will get when you go to the internet and you ask for the free proxy server, so you will see there are lots of proxy servers available in the internet and they keep coming and going. They will not remain every time active. They just come for some time, then they disappear. Because of these infection, these are those victims' computers. They don't know that their machines are become proxy Trojan. They have infected by the proxy Trojan. They don't know, but their machine was working like a proxy. Those victims, those attackers, these attackers use those proxies to do the attack on those different companies, and when the companies try to track them, they will not able to track because of these proxy servers or proxy machines. So there are lots of machines, thousands of machines are already infected on the internet with this proxy using this technique. So you can go to internet and you go to Google and give the search like online proxy servers list. You will find lots of proxy servers there. The whole list of the proxy servers which is coming and going. These are all infected with this proxy server Trojan, and they don't know that their machine has become the proxy server. We have this proxy server Trojan which is called Web Proxy Trojan Creator. It is a funny name to evade the antivirus things. So it means like this name. Now this is a proxy server Trojan which supports multi-connection from many clients and report IP and port to mail of the Trojan owner. So basically you can use this to create a Trojan. You will use this to create a Trojan with these settings. And when you create the Trojan, you will send that Trojan to the victim machine. And when the victim machine installs the Trojan, then what? It will report that machine's information through the email to the owner of the Trojan. You will put your email address here in this Trojan. You can see here your email properties. You will give your email information here in the first section, and in the other section you will mention your other information. Then you create, it will build. This command is to build. So when you build it, it will build a small exe file for you, and you have to install that exe file into the victim machine. And when the victim installs that exe, it will be reported on the configured email address, and it will inform that client's IP address, and also it will give the link. So when you click, the attacker will click on that link, it will open the access of that victim's machine. Then there is FTP Trojan. This FTP Trojan do what? It install an FTP server on the victim's machine which opens FTP port. Now FTP port will be open and the victim don't know that his machine is become FTP server. And then what? Attacker can then connect the victim's machine using FTP port to download any files that exist on the victim machine's computer. So very simple, attacker do what? It will create victim as a server and join itself as a client, and then use the services of the victim machines. For example, with the FTP it can do what? It can download the files from the victim machine. There is a software called Tiny FTPD, and you can run it on the victim machine with these options like Tiny FTPD 21 port number. Then you can use this port number to connect the local host. Then you can mention the username and password also, and then you can mention which directory you want to share. So you can share like C drive. So when the attacker connects this, it will ask the username and password. So it will provide this test as a username and password, and then it can get the access of C drive. Then VNC Trojan. This VNC Trojan, it starts the VNC server daemon in the infected system, that is victim. Again it is making the victim machine as a server. Attacker connects to the victim using any VNC viewer. Since the VNC program is considered a utility, this Trojan will be difficult to detect using antivirus, because it is just a normal utility to connect the remote machine's graphical interface. It gives the graphical interface of the victim machine. So attacker do what? By using the Trojan, it will install the VNC Trojan, VNC server. It will make the client machine as a VNC server and then connect using any VNC client to victim machine, and it will get the remote desktop access of client or victim. Then VNC Trojan, it is the VNC Trojan Hasperbot. This is one of the VNC Trojan, is a banking Trojan which features common functionalities such as keystroke logging, creation of screenshot and video capture, and setting up of remote proxy. It creates a hidden VNC server to which the attacker can remotely connect. As VNC does not log the user off like RDP, the attacker can connect to the unsuspecting victim's computer while they are working. Now, when you use the remote desktop in Windows, what happens? The other machines will be logged out. When you connect the remote desktop of any machine, that machine will be logged out. But when you use the VNC, it will not log out. The victim machines will not log out. Victim will do work on the machine and will not know that somebody is getting the remote desktop of this machine. So very simple. It will do what? It will send the scam mail to the user as a normal file. It looks like a normal file, but it is a Trojan, and when it is dropped, when it is running the Trojan, it will be dropped and it will be installed in the system of the client and victim. And when it is installed, it can be accessed through the any VNC connector, any VNC client. Then we have HTTP and HTTPS Trojan. Now this HTTP is having a benefit. It can bypass the firewall. These HTTP Trojans can bypass any firewall and work in the reverse way of a straight HTTP tunnel. So because the firewalls, most of the firewalls do what? They open the HTTP port. So it can easily bypass the firewall, and using the reverse way of straight HTTP, the victim machine itself try to connect the attacker. Attacker don't have to connect the victim machine. The victim machine will itself connect the attacker. Spawn a child program. They are executed on the internet host and spawn a child at a predetermined time. That means it will remain in the machine, but it will run a predetermined time of the Trojan creator. Access the internet. The child program appears to be a user to the firewall, so it is allowed to access the internet. And remember, it is using the HTTP, so if the firewall sees whether the traffic is going out of HTTP, so it will feel like the victim is trying to browse the internet. So it allows the HTTP connection to go out of the internal zone through the firewall, and it can reach the server, it can reach the victim, it can reach the attacker easily. We have these two, this is the HTTP Trojan, which is called HTTP RAT. Very simple. First you have to open the HTTP RAT to create the Trojan exe with the information, your email address. You put your email address and the name of the Trojan exe, and you create the exe. It will create server.exe file. Then you have to send that server.exe file to the victim and allow and lure the victim to install that exe. Now when the victim installs the exe, the Trojan sends an email with the location of an IP address to attacker. So when attacker get the email, now attacker click on that email, open the email and click on the link. It will connect the victim machine using the IP address and the browsing port 80, and it will give the access of that victim machines. And it can do display ads, record personal data, keystrokes, download unsolicited files, disables programs, flood internet connection and distribute threats, tracks browsing activities and hijack internet browser, make fraudulent claims about spyware detection and removal also. There is one more option, HTTPS, and this is SSTTPD Trojan. It is called HTTPS. This is SSL. SHTTPD is a small HTTP server that can be embedded inside any program, and it can be wrapped with the genuine program like game, like chess, and when executed it will turn a computer into an invisible web server. So you can just send, you have to just send the exe with the any other program wrapped around the other program. So attacker will send it and easily it can bypass the firewall, because some firewall may not allow the 80 port number 80 normal HTTP, but they will definitely allow the HTTPS, which because it is secure and data is also encrypted. So firewall may not be able to see what is going on also. So you just have to install that exe into the victim, and then victim machines will become like a HTTPS server. Then the attacker connect to the victim using the web browser. So it will connect by using the IP address of the client, victim, and the port number 443 of SSL. The infect the victim's computer with this ext should be running in the background, listening on the port number 443. Then attacker can use the ICMP tunneling. This covert channel are method in which an attacker can hide the data in a protocol that is undetectable. This ICMP is mostly undetectable. They rely on the technique called tunneling, which allow one protocol to be carried over another protocol. Tunneling is basically encapsulating one protocol into another protocol, like encapsulating the data of FTP inside the data of SSH, or we can say ICMP. So outside, when you see from the outside, it looks like it is the data of ICMP, but inside it is the data of FTP or any other protocol. So ICMP tunneling uses ICMP echo request and reply to carry a payload and stealthily access or control the victim's machine. Basically, ICMP do what? It provide you the errors and messages of network, like when you try to connect some machine, so whether the machine is available or not available, timeout, request timeout, destination host unreachable, these are the errors, messages comes, and these are handled by the ICMP protocol. So attacker can do what? Attacker can encapsulate its payload, its Trojan into the ICMP data. ICMP request, echo request, or reply, or timeout. It can encapsulate into that messages, and when these messages pass through the firewall, they cannot detect it. They will say like this is normal ICMP packet. So victim, this is one ICMP send tool, which is used to send the data in with the ICMP packet. So if the data is not allowed, still suppose the port number 23 is not allowed, but still you can send the data on port number 23 by using the ICMP send. Then we have remote access Trojan. This remote access Trojan can do lots of things, can do the lots of other Trojan way. This Trojan works like a remote desktop access. Hacker gains complete GUI access to the remote system. Now how it infect? First infect the computer, Rivercast computer with server.exe and plant the reverse connecting Trojan. So first you do have to create the exe, Trojan exe, with the help of remote access Trojan creator. Then you send that exe and infect the victim machine. Now when it is infected the victim machine, it creates the reverse connecting Trojan. Reverse connecting, that means the victim machine itself try to connect the attacker. The Trojan connects to the port 80 to the attacker in Russia, establish a reverse connection, and JSON, the attacker has complete control over the Rivercast machine. So it will do what? It will connect the attacker's machine by itself on port number 80. So port number 80 is open on almost all the firewalls. And then what? From the attacker machine, attacker has its own server, Trojan server, remote access server, and then what? It can control the whole system of the victim, and it can do lots of things. These are the examples of remote access Trojans: Optics Pro and Moonsucker. Then we have Black Hole Rat, we have SSH Rat, we have NG Rat, we have Extreme Rat. Then we have Covert Channel Trojan, CCTT. This covert channel tunneling tool Trojan present various exploitation technique, creating an arbitrary data transfer channel in the data stream authorized by the network access control system. That means it is allowed in the firewall and IDS. It is enable attackers to get an external server shell from within the internal network and vice versa. It sets a TCP UDP HTTP connect host channel allowing TCP data stream SSH, SMTP, POP3, etc. between an external server and a box from within the internet network. So it do what within internal network, like if we do what it will from the internal, this is suppose the client machine. So what it will do, it will infect the client machine with this CCT Trojan, CCT client Trojan. So it will do what? It will work as a proxy, it will work as a tunneling tool for the victim machine, and then it will connect the Trojan server. This is what CCT server, and these are the services which is going to be used by the server. Now it do what? It uses the proxy chains to connect the server, connect the client, and send the instructions to the client, and whatever the instructions sent to the client will do that and send the output to this through these proxies to the CCT server. Now it do use the normal UKIN traffic, so it do use it actually creates the tunnel of normal looking connection, like it can create the tunnel of port number 80 or 443 or whatever the open ports are on the firewall. So it can hide the data into the firewall also. Then we have e-banking Trojans. E-banking Trojans intercept a victim account information before it is encrypted and sends it to the attacker Trojan command and control center. So it do what? It steals the victim data such as credit card, related card number, CVV, billing details, etc. and transmit it to a remote hacker using the email, FTP, IRC or other methods. The method will be decided by the attacker who created the Trojan. So it do what? It will try to get the information of the machine, of the system or the victims, which is banking related. It will not do anything. It will wait for the victim to access some banking sites. So Trojan creator do what? It create the Trojan, and based on the Trojan, it will create in the Trojan, like it will add some common banking sites. So whenever the user try to go to those sites, the Trojan will automatically activate it. Now remember, those banking sites do use the encryption technique to secure the communication channel. So what these Trojans do, it actually get the data before the data is encrypted, because they are infected the client machine. They are not infecting the banking server, they are infecting the client machine. So when the client try to type the information, and the information is going to be encrypted before sending the server, banking server, it will be sent to the attacker first. Now the way it is infected, the way is simple. Again, it will create a Trojan server and then send it to the victim. Now victim infected by the Trojan server, and it will become bot, it will become botnet. The victim machine will become botnet, and it will report to the command and control center. Command and control center is available on the attacker machine. Then attacker machine sends the report. It send the bank instruct the Trojan to access the bank account. So user, it can lure the user. It can send the mail to the user that your bank account is this and that. You have to reset your account, or you have to do this thing or that thing, and you have to connect the banking site. It will give the genuine link to the user. Now when the user clicks on that link, the Trojan will start do its job, and Trojan will start sending the report to the victim machine, to the attacker, and then it will manipulate the transaction details also. So when the victim try to do the transaction, it can manipulate the transaction also and send the data, send the money to somewhere else also. This is the working of e-banking Trojan. TAN grabbing. TAN grabbing means Trojan intercept the transaction authentication number TAN entered by the user. It replaces the 10 with a random number that will be rejected by the bank. An attacker can misuse the intercepted 10 with the user's login credential, login detail. Like we can say OTP. When you try to do any transaction, it will send some OTP. It asks you to send the OTP. So OTP comes on the mobile of the victim. So when victim gets the OTP, it type the OTP and try to send it to the bank. Now the Trojan do what? It will manipulate the OTP and replace the OTP with some random number and send it to the bank. Now bank will reject it, but it will reject it first time, but the next time it will accept the right one. What it will do, attacker next time will send the right one and do the transaction. It will change the transaction to its own account. It can misuse that tag. Then Trojan creates this HTML injection. It can do Trojan creates the fake form fields on e-banking pages. Additional fields elicit extra information such as card number and date of birth. Attacker can use this information to impersonate and compromise victim's account. Now remember, the victim's bank server is not infected, but the victim machine itself infected. Now what happened when it accesses the bank site? So bank site displays the page to victim machine. Now victim machines have impacted by the Trojan, so it will show what the Trojan will do. What it will add the fake HTML coding into the page, and it will display some extra field into the page. Now those fields are not in real server, not in the bank server. It will show only in the victim's machine. Those extra fields can have it can ask for the card number, it can ask for the date of birth, it can ask for the other informations. Now when the victim feels like it is the genuine site, so it is asking, the bank is asking these informations. So victim will fill these informations, and the extra information will go to attacker, and the normal information which bank requires, it will go to the bank server. This is HTML injection. Form grabber. This technique do what? In this technique, Trojan analyzes the post request and responses to victim's browser. It compromises the scramble pad authentication, and Trojan intercepts the scramble pad input as a user enter customer number and personal access code. It do what? It do the manipulation with the post request. Now when you access any website, there are two type of request goes: get and post. Get to get the data, and post when you post some information. Like when you access any site, your browser sends the get request. Now when you fill up the form and submit, then your browser sends the post request. So when you are filling the form and sending the banking site, so this form grabber do what? It will grab that form, grab that post request and manipulate that post request, and do use the information, do use the important information of that user, like customer number, personal access code, and etc. There is a banking Trojan called Zeus and SpyEye. These Trojans' main objective is of Zeus and SpyEye Trojan is to steal the bank and credit card account information, FTP data, and other sensitive information from infected computers via web browser and protected storage. And SpyEye can automatically and quickly initiate an online transaction also. This can directly initiate the online transaction also, to do some purchasing or do some transaction. There is one more, Cadiddle, Builder, and ICE11 also. These are also the banking Trojans. Then we have destructive Trojans. Now these destructive Trojans, one of them is Master Trojan. This Trojan formats all local and network drives. Now this destructive Trojans is a very dangerous and destructive type of Trojan. And when executed, this Trojan destroys the operating system. The user will not be able to boot the operating system completely. As the name suggests, this do destruct the computer. It is completely destruct the computer, destruct the whole system, destroy the system. It can delete the partitions, it can delete the drives, it can format the drives, it can delete and corrupt the operating system files, so that your system will never start again. And these are called destructive Trojans. Then we have a type of data hiding Trojan. Data hiding Trojan, or we can say it is encrypted Trojans. This encryption Trojan encrypts data file in victim's system and renders information unusable. Then attacker demands a ransom or force victim to make purchase from their online drug stores in return for the password to unlock files. So basically, when this Trojan infect your system, it will try to encrypt all the important documents in your system, like confidential documents, financial information, important files, personal information, company database. So basically it will target the important files like .doc, document file, Excel file, PDF files, image files, JPG files, PNG files, and it will encrypt every file. Now what it will do, encrypt every file, and when you try to open the file, it will give you the notification that if you want to open the file, you need a key, and the key you want, then you have to click on this link, or you have to pay this amount of money as a Bitcoin, or you have to purchase this amount of things, and these are the things you have to purchase, drugs or something, and with the Bitcoins. So it is basically asking for the ransom. It is asking for the ransom, and if you pay the ransom, then you will get the key. Otherwise you will not get the key, and your data your data will remain encrypted, and you will no longer have access of your data. Then there are mobile Trojans are also available. These mobile Trojan attacks and increase rapidly due to the increase of mobile use globally. The attacker tricks the victim into installing the malicious application. Remember, it tricks the user. When the victim downloads the malicious app, the Trojan performs various attacks like banking credentials stealing, social networking credentials stealing, data encryption, device locking, etc. There are different ways, different Trojans. We have Hammer. Hammer is a Trojan that runs on Android operating system. When device is infected with Hammer, will root the phone to gain administrative privileges, and then it will add pop-up ads to the phone. So first it will root the Android phone, and then it will add the pop-ups of ad. Then there are dangers, there are ghost push, hide icon, danpay, rootnik, andro rat. Remember, rat means remote access, and it can give the remote access of your mobile to any other user, the attacker. Then we have IoT Trojans also. IoT is the Internet of Things, and is the internetworking of physical devices, buildings and other items embedded with electronics like your fan, LED lights, televisions, and etc. So these IoTs are the malicious program. IoT Trojans are the malicious programs that attacks the IoT networks and leverage a botnet to attack other machines outside of the IoT network. So remember, it do what? If it hacks, it attacks the IoT devices. Now remember, IoT devices are what? These are fans, these are LEDs. Now you will not steal any information from them, but with these, because these are connected to network, so attacker can use these IoT devices to attack any other system. Like it can use these devices as a botnet to attack any other systems. So we have Mirai, we have Hijimi, we have Lobot, Trojan Linux, PNScan. We have these are the IoT Trojans. We have BreakerBot. BreakerBot Trojan corrupts IoT devices storage capability and reconfigured kernel parameters. Now, introduction to viruses. We have seen Trojans. Now what is viruses? The viruses is a self-replicating program that produces its own copy by attaching itself to another program, computer boot sector, or documents. Viruses are generally transmitted through the file downloads, infected disk, flash drive, and as an email attachment. So normally this comes with the downloaded files, it comes from the flash, it comes from the email attachment. And it do what? It do self-replicate itself. Like this is the normal, it is also a program, it is also a malicious code, but it do what? It replicate itself. Like once it comes into your system, So it will try to replicate itself and it will try to spread all over your system and also try to infect the other systems. Now there is a problem in these viruses. They cannot remain itself. They are not remain in the independent exe. Like Trojan is an independent exe, it cannot be an independent exe. So viruses do what? They inject their code into another programs. So if suppose you are having some programs in your system, so these viruses do what? They insert their code, they insert their malicious program code into the other programs. So in easy way we can say it attached to other programs, and it runs with that programs. Like when you run that program, it runs the malicious code of the virus also. It infects the other program, alters the data, transform itself, corrupt files and programs, encrypt itself to save itself, and self-replication. Self-replication so that it can infect all the other programs. So once it comes into your system, it will start infecting other programs also. Then stages of the virus life. Remember virus life, and we can say any Trojan life also. First, it is design. The first phase of the life for the virus is design. Developing virus code using programming language or construction kit. In this phase, the code is designed, the virus is designed, the Trojan is designed. Then it is designed by the programming language or construction kit, either way. Then replication. Virus replicates for the period of time within the target system and then spreads itself. So once it comes into the system, it tries to replicate itself and then spread itself. Now number 3, it gets activated with the user performing a certain action such as running an infected program. So it will infect the program. Like I said, it will not able to run itself. It has to infect the other program. So it infects the program, and when the victim runs that program, it get activated and it will start doing its job. Now the interesting part comes. When it try to run the job, when it is activated and try to infect the system and try to do the job which is made for this, like the virus is made for do the job, and when it try to do that job, and this is not malicious job, so virus is identified as a threat infecting the target system. So basically it will be detected by the antivirus in that stage. Now first stage, it will be detected when it is trying to replicate itself, when it try to enter the system. Now if you are using the already available construction kit, or you are using already available viruses, and it will try to use those viruses available on internet, and you try to use those, then it will be easily detected on the second stage, on the replication stage. It will be detected by the antivirus by the signature, because all the known viruses are having a unique signature and antiviruses knows those signatures. So they will know the signature and they will detect easily and delete it. But if you make a new virus by using the programming language, you created the new fresh virus, so it will not be detected by the antivirus when it is doing the replication. But when it is launched and activated and it try to do the malicious things, then it can be detected by the antivirus, and it will be detected on the fourth stage, detection stage. So it will be detected and identified as a threat in the target system. Now what the target system do? It do the fifth stage, that is incorporation. That means antivirus software developers estimate the defenses against the virus. So when it is detected, it will submit the virus code to the developer of the antivirus, and then antivirus developers do what? It will create the defense against the virus. Now remember, it will update the signature of the virus to the antivirus. In next phase, next time when this virus try to insert any machine, it will be detected directly from second stage. Now after it is submitted to the antivirus developer, the sixth stage is the elimination. User install antivirus updates and eliminate the virus threats. And eliminates the virus threat, and updates are available to every machine. So wherever this virus try to go, the antivirus will detect the virus and delete it directly on the second stage. and that is why it is said that you should create your own virus and you should create your new virus. Design your own virus and trojan. Don't use those viruses and trojans available on internet. Working of virus infection phase. So in the infection phase, it do what? Infection phase, the virus replicate itself and attaches an exe file in the system. So it attaches its code, and what it do is, this is, suppose this is the before infection, this is the normal file, it the normal exe, it is starting the program here and ending the program here. Now what it do after infection, it infects the file and add its own code into it, and then what it files the jumper. That means when the exe starts, it adds the jumper here like go to, and it will go to this virus code, and virus code will execute, and then at the end of the code it will set the jumper there, that is go to, and it will go to the normal program, and then normal program is start and end. So basically what it will do, it will run itself first, and then the normal program will run. Working of virus in attack phase. So viruses are programmed with trigger events to activate and corrupt the system. So some viruses infect each time they are run, and others infect only when a certain predefined condition is met, such as user specific task, a day, a time, or a particular event. So when it is activated, it do every time, like suppose it is infected the program, so whenever you run the program, it will do the task, whatever the task is made for the virus. Or some viruses do what, it remains in the system and it will not do anything until you do some specific task, like user go to some website, then the virus will get activated. If the day, like on Sunday or Monday, it will get activated. On some particular time or some event, it get activated. So it do what? It do run the first thing, like first it do run itself, and then it will run the normal programs. So all the viruses do work same. It try to run itself first, and then it will run the real program. This is what unfragmented file before attack, and this is fragmented file due to virus attack. It do what? It changes the way the real program runs, and it sets the jumpers in it. Now, why do people create computer viruses? Why do they create? First, they want to infect and damage the competitor. Inflict and damage the competitor. Sometimes you have competitors and you want to destroy the competitors. So we can create the viruses, infect them to destroy them, and do the financial benefits. Now, what is the financial benefit? If suppose my competitor is losing, so I am winning, and I am gaining the financial benefits, and that is why I want to damage my competitors. Then it can be used as a research project. We can use it for to play the prank on our friends. We can use it for the vandalism, and then we can use it for the cyber terrorism. They can use it to distribute the political messages also. Now, identification of virus attack. Now, it is simple. If you feel like your machine is behaving abnormally, that means there is a problem of viruses there. Abnormal activity. So if the system acts in an unprecedented manner, you can suspect a virus attack. But it can be a false positive also. However, not all glitches can be attributed to virus attacks. It can be a software problem also. But if your system is behaving unprecedentedly, like it is like computer beeps with no display, or drive label change, unable to load operating system, false antivirus alerts, files and folders are missing, browser windows are freezing. So these are some of the indications, and basically if your system is behaving abnormally, that means you are maybe infected, or maybe it is normal software problem. And again, how does a computer get infected by the viruses? So when a user accepts file and downloads without checking properly for the source, and it downloads anything from everywhere, opening infected email attachments, installing pirated software, not updating and not installing new versions of plugins, not running the latest antivirus applications. These are the reasons why the viruses are infect the system. Then also viruses can use hoaxes and fake antiviruses also. Hoax viruses are false alarm claiming report about a non-existing virus which may contain virus attachment. That means you will get an email and it will give you the whole paragraph, and it will give you the whole news that there are some viruses around the world and around the network which is infecting the machines and doing some very harmful things, and it is stealing your important information. So if you want to check that whether your machine is infected with this virus or not, use this tool, and it will give you the link for the tool, and you will install that tool and scan your system. Now basically you are not scanning your system, you are installing the Trojan, you are scanning the virus, you are installing the virus in your system. This is hoax, fake alarm. And also attacker can use the fake antiviruses also. Attacker use malware as an antivirus and trick user to install them in their system. So it will give you the mail that this is the new antivirus and this is a free, and you can use this free antivirus. And when you use that free antivirus, basically it is not an antivirus, it is itself a virus. It is itself a malware, it is itself a Trojan. Then ransomwares. Then the ransomwares is the type of the malware which restricts access to the computer system files and folders and demands an online ransom payment to the malware creator in order to remove the restriction. It is also, we can say, it is the data hiding Trojan or data hiding virus. What it do? It hides your data, it encrypts your data, and when you click on that data, you will get the message like this, and it will say that pay as a Bitcoin as a ransom, and then you can use it. And these are the ransomware family: CryptoBit ransomware, CryptoLocker ransomware, Crypto Defense, Crypto War, and police themed ransomware also. It looks like a police website. You will access your data, it will show like the police has disabled your site, disabled your file, and you have to pay the money. It is like that. This is like this police themed ransomware, CryptoBit ransomware. So when you click your file, you will see the messages like this, and it will say that you are caught and you have to pay a money or charges to unencrypted your files.